The following is paid programming.
It's time to talk taxes.
New friends, new opportunities, new partners. EG Tax.
It's Ask the Tax Lady with Esther Gulius and EG Tax on News Radio 930 WBEN. To reach Esther now, call 803-0930. Toll free at 1-800-616-9236. And cell calls are free at star 930. And now, live from the WBEN studios, it's Esther Gulius.
Hey, everybody, this is the Tax Lady, and this is our hour to talk taxes and anything else that has to do with your finances, your money, because, you know, the tax return, you want to make sure you don't overpay one penny, but obviously you would never come up with a tax write-off if it would cost you finances. For instance, if you're in the 10% bracket and you're paying $10,000 in mortgage interest, it's true that it's going to save you $1,000 in taxes because 10% of $10,000 is $1,000, but you just paid $10,000 to save $1,000. So you lost $9,000. So if you could pay off your mortgage, that would be a much better thing to do. So things like that we want to talk about. Obviously, during tax season, we have to beat the bushes with the tax stuff. But this time of year, we try to modify. Like, for instance, next week we have Jeff Moran that's going to be in studio, and he is an expert on education and education loans and getting higher education things paid.
Maybe he could break down this free tuition thing.
Right, and he'll talk about that. So that's next week. But that, and by the way, was Tiffany Fabian. Hi, Tiff.
Hello, Esther.
And Christopher Fabian.
Hello, Esther.
Hey, and I just want to say happy Father's Day, Chris. You're an absolutely great father. It's wonderful to see a guy spend so much time with his kids, and I think for most of the time you like them, right?
Yeah, sort of.
Today one of them almost lost his keys, and he wanted to
strangle her.
We were walking around the store trying to find the keys.
And Becca did a great thing yesterday, didn't she?
She surprised us, came home, took the train from Chicago to home for Father's Day, so that was a very nice surprise.
Yeah, and so happy Father's Day to all you great dads out there. Men are such an important influence on their children, and I just want to say thanks for doing such a great job, dads, because it ain't easy raising kids. It ain't easy, I'll tell you. Anyway, we're going to talk today about anything that's tax related, but specifically, we want to unpeel what a FICO score is and how the FICO score affects your purchases and how so many things are based upon your credit score. And so if you're somebody that has kids that maybe aren't so good at managing money, listen up, because maybe you can impart something to them. If you're driving around and you know that you're having troubles with your credit score, hopefully we'll impart some wisdom to you because your credit is so important. Again, 803-0930. 803-0930, star 930 on a cell phone. And before we get into our subject matter, I got Kat from Buffalo on the phone. How can we help you, Kat?
Well, I have to take a minimum distribution this year.
Okay.
All right, and it's about $10,000.
Okay.
All right. I want to know if I gave that to someone, it's tax-free on my part. Do they have to declare that as income?
Well,
wait, Kat. It's not tax-free on your part. Where did you think that it was tax-free on your part?
who are you giving it to?
Right,
are you giving it to a person or a 501c3?
A child.
Okay. First of all, big, broad umbrella. If you're taking money out of a traditional IRA, traditional 401k, or any other type of tax-deferred, taxable vehicle that's a pension or an annuity, it's going to be taxable to you.
Okay.
Okay? However, if you were to, and Chris was talking about the rollover, if you were doing a direct rollover from your IRA to a charity up to, how much money can you roll over?
120.
Right, 100,000. You could roll over tax-free to the charity.
Okay, no.
Okay, but if you're rolling it over to your child, that doesn't count.
And it will not be taxable to her.
It wouldn't be taxable to your child because you've already paid taxes on it.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes, that's exactly what I want.
All right, Kat. Thanks for calling. Bye-bye.
Roll it over to your child.
Yeah, I know the kids would love it to be rolled over to them, right?
Make sure, though, she does the adequate withholding because
Yes.
it could impact her Social Security as well. And
Right. But she was saying, how much did she say?
10,000.
10,000. So
10,000.
if it all depends how old she is and if she has any other source of income
Married.
besides Social Security. So maybe, Kat, you want to call us on Monday and we'll figure out how much you should have withheld so that you aren't stuck next April.
And see if
the
you should
18th.
have any state withholdings. Generally not, but if you have lots of other money, then it would be.
Right. I'm Esther Goulias, the tax lady, 803-0930, 803-0930, star 930 on a cell phone. And we kind of have and I know we have calls coming in, we're going to answer those, but I wanted to get on this before the break. Things that you pay more for because you have poor credit, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You pay more in credit card interest, right? I mean, they love you if you have really a good FICO score. Even if you're transferring balances from another place, they give you like 0% for 21 months because you have good credit scores. But if your credit is not so hot, you can pay how much? 20, 25%, 29%
Yeah.
in interest. So that should
Some
make
of those
your
store
eyebrows
ones like
perk up.
Bon-Ton or Macy's, those are the higher ones.
Right.
Those department stores.
The second thing that you pay more for is car insurance.
Right. Bill Barber talked about that last week.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
So, and homeowners
insurance. Yep. That's what he said.
and student loan interest. Okay?
Correct.
And mortgages.
Yeah.
Right? You pay more for your mortgage if
Cars.
you qualify.
Car.
And car loans. I mean, so it is really. I know that nobody likes to think about credit because it doesn't sound like fun, but since it affects so much of your life, it really is a sign of maturity when you say, you know what, I got to get a handle of this. And hopefully we're going to help you to improve your FICO score today by some specific moves that maybe you didn't even know about. Maybe you've never looked at your credit. We certainly want to help.
I was flipping through the internet the other day looking for something, and Susie Orman had a big article about credit and how important it is, and so this is what things you have to look at. Sometimes you don't want to look at these painful things.
I mean,
but
you don't
have
want to because many times people don't know what to do. You know, and again, that's a free service that we offer at EG Tax. So
Yep.
if you wanted to come in and have us sit you down and do the bad B word, the budget, I mean, we will make some suggestions. Now, obviously, if you're just happy where you are, then that's great. But we certainly want to make ourselves available to you, and that's why we're talking about how to improve your FICO score. And FICO scores are really just the name that the credit bureaus use for the score that they attach to how you pay your bills and what your credits are.
Right.
All right. I'm Esther Goulias, the tax lady from EG Tax, 803-0930, 803-0930, star 930 on your cell phone. You can call us about anything, but if you're calling about your credit, we certainly want to entertain that too. I'm going to take Ed before we take our break. Hey, Ed, how can we help you?
Oh, Esther, my brother-in-law had a heart attack, and he had 3 bypasses, and during the operation, he developed a problem with his arm, and he wasn't able to go back to work because of his arm. And it's going on the year that he'll be off from work. And he's thinking of taking out money out of his retirement account because he needs it to live on.
Right. How old is he, Ed?
He's around 50 years old.
Okay. And is he considered permanently disabled?
They're saying that it's going to get better, but it doesn't look like it's going to be anytime soon.
All right. So here's the thing. Does he have an IRA?
Yes.
Okay. So, Chris, you want to give him the exception to penalty?
One of the exceptions is because you're disabled. And so you could take it out, you'll pay income tax, but there will be no 10% penalty on that money.
So he wants to make sure that he talks to his doctor that says that he's been out for a year and he still is unable to secure work, so that when he does his distribution, it's got to be from an IRA, that there would be no penalty for the amount that he takes out due to his disability.
It would be the penalty would be excluded on a form 5329, and you're going to do a code 3. And if it continues, he might want to look into getting Social Security disability.
Yeah, has he talked to an attorney about Social Security?
Yes, he applied for Social Security.
Good.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So he'll get it retroactive then. But yes, as long as the doctor says that he's unable to work, he applied for Social Security disability, he can take money out of his IRA that would be not subject to penalty.
Does he have children, Ed?
No, he doesn't have children.
Okay.
Okay.
Because if your income is lower, you can roll up the pension or IRA to wages, and you would qualify for a possible earned income credit.
Right, but in this case, it isn't going to happen. So, and if he needs help, Ed, have him give us a jingle, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Happy Father's Day. If you're a dad.
I am.
All right, thank you, sir. I'm Esther Gilius, the tax lady. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back with your phone calls, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. See you in a sec.
Here comes the sun, here comes the sun.
I think it's already here.
That's for sure. Hey, I'm Esther Gilius, the tax lady. Here comes the sun. You know, it's really interesting. I was walking the other day. It was like 50-some degrees, and it was raining. And I said, what's wrong? It never turns into summer. Then today I get up, it's 91. And I thought, oh, that's Buffalo. It's either freezing to death or it's too hot.
Yeah.
But we love the sun. We love the sun. Okay, you know what? 8030930, 8030930, star on 930 on your cell phone. Okay, so how to raise your credit score. Well, first of all, you got to what?
Check your credit report. That's a good place to find out what your FICO score is.
First, you got to have credit.
Well,
Right.
that's true.
I mean,
That's true.
because how many young kids go to, buy a house or buy a car and they have no credit, so they can't get it.
That's true. But the first thing you want to do is find out what your credit score is, right?
Right.
And I know Credit Karma offers a free FICO score
Yeah,
analysis.
and a lot of credit cards now, you get your statements and they'll put your FICO score on your credit cards, like Discover, for instance.
And so that's good. So then you, once you know your credit score, then you have to get a copy of the credit report. They have a score, but the score is a compilation of your report. So you should look at it to see if there's any errors.
Right.
Believe it or not, there can be errors, or you might find out that you have this credit card open up that is late payments, and it's you don't have it, and somebody stole your identity.
Correct.
So those are so important, and you can, and then what you do is you can dispute if there's any errors. You can write to the credit bureau and say, I'm Esther Gilius, and I dispute this because I now don't have a Discover card.
Right, and I guess they have so many days to
They have 30
remedy
days.
the
They have
dispute.
30 days to say you're wrong, and if they don't say that, they take it off
That's
the credit
right.
report.
That's right. Yeah.
So I mean, that's so easy to do.
To do.
But so what makes up a FICO score? Okay,
I don't
a lot
know.
of people don't know, and actually I didn't know exactly. 30% of the score is based upon accounts that you owe. All right, and here's the thing: if your outstanding credit limit,
to the available limit.
right, if less than 20% of your available credit is used, that's a positive on your FICO score. If you use more than 20%, then that's a negative. Now, one of the things when I was doing research, and by the way, I went to myfico.com if you want to look at this yourself, is one of the things that they suggest is to ask for an increase in your credit limit. So let's say that you have an $80,000 credit limit right now
That's so
on all your
smart.
cards, and you're using 25% of it. Well, then that would be over 20%, and that's
Right.
bad. But if you call call up your
On your
credit
statement.
people and say, I'd like an increase in credit, and let's say they increase it to $120,000, that's less than 20%. You haven't gone any more in debt, but that will increase your FICO score, and that's 30%. So that's
What
a
an
big
easy thing to do.
It is, but it's not good if you go out and charge a whole bunch of money.
Right. They probably don't check your credit, do they? Your credit card company, when they're, investigating if they're going to raise your limit.
I think they do. I
Okay.
think they
Well,
check.
so that's not good.
Right. But the thing is, if you're if they think that you've been a good payer and they increase your credit line, that's great because then you get under that 20%. The next thing that is new credit. So if you've gone out, don't go out and open up like 15 charge cards in the next 2 weeks, because new credit counts for 10% of your FICO score. So that's not a good thing. And then 35% is your credit history. And so if you've been doing late pays, 30-day, 90-day lates, if you have bankruptcies, foreclosures, lawsuits, wage attachments, liens, judgments, that's not good.
And that's when you might want to do some payment reminders or have the payment come automatically out of your checking account.
And that's exactly right. I mean, many people end up with a 30-day late because they forgot to mail in the payment.
That's right.
Or maybe they're not using electronics, they're using the mail. Yeah. And the dog really did eat the credit card and it never got to you. Where the mailman accidentally threw it in the mail, in the mud, and you didn't get it. So if you have credit reminders where you say, gee whiz, I should be getting this Discover card payment now and I didn't get it, so that you would avoid these late payments. The other thing is, I know that I was working with a client the other day who had a judgment on their credit report, and they said that was paid for like 8 years ago and it wasn't taken off. So that's one of the things we disputed, sent it into the credit bureau to take it off.
You did that? Is so cool.
Because it affects your credit.
Yeah.
So that's your payment history. Then 15% is the length of your credit history. Like if you're 19 years old and this is your first credit card, then 15% of your FICO score is going to be based on the fact that you're a newbie.
Because they don't have a history, a track record.
But then again, there's somebody like me who's got a long track record, and I do pay all my bills, and that works in my behalf. Obviously, you can't help it if you're 19.
Right.
Right? But this is really important. So you got 30% on the amount owed. So to remedy that, you'd want to stay under 20% of the amount of credit granted. So you might ask for an increase in credit. Don't use it. New credit, you should not go out and open up a bunch of charge cards and things of that nature. Length of your credit history is based upon your credit history. And then your credit mix. If it's mortgages and some credit cards, right? But if it's all credit cards and all store cards, and they're up to the limit, then it affects your credit history. That's a 15%. That's a 10%. So that's what makes up a FICO score. And I will tell you, if you go to myfico.com, it'll give you lots of great tips on how to improve your credit.
I know Chris and I were working on making our credit really good last year because we were getting a mortgage, and we called one of these services that help you fine-tune your credit card. Your credit, and one of the things that they do is they look at dings on your credit and they write to it, like you were saying, and if you can't prove it within 30 days, it's gone.
Right, and that's what's so important, is to make that first step. Let's go to the phones, and we're going to talk to Mike in Lancaster. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Esther. How are you?
I'm good. What's new?
Great show you have. I had you about 35 years ago, and I was...
Mike!
She's only 30,
I'm only
Mike.
30. How could you have had me do your taxes 35 years ago? That's impossible. I'm only kidding.
You had so many plaques on the wall. I remember commenting about...
Oh.
Long story short, my daughter lives up in Canada. She works in Canada. She has a work visa. She had a job up there in nonprofit. Now she has a nonprofit job that pays her with American money, that's an American-based company, and they're not withholding any taxes at all. And she asked me what I should do, and I said, well, I recommended EG Taxes, of course.
Oh, you're so sweet. Hey, well, all right, so first of all, it's an American-based company, and she's considered self-employed or an employee?
An employee.
All right. So, Chris, what would you suggest that Mike tell his daughter?
Well, what there is, as long as she's based, she's been over there, or up there, I shouldn't say over there, up there for over a year.
Yes, she's going for dual citizenship too.
Okay, so then what there is the 2555 first of all, where she could exclude a certain amount of income up to like $98,000, or if she's going for dual citizen, she may have to do the 1116, which is the foreign tax credit, and get credit for the tax she pays to Canada.
Now, don't you think she should approach her U.S. employer, though, to have him withhold FICA and Medicare?
Yes.
Chris?
Yep.
I told her. And
That's exact. Did she talk to the employer about that?
yes, and she said they didn't know what to do. So, whether that's true or not, I have to trust what she's telling me. She's 29 years old. So would hope she's telling me the right answers. But I told her to call you because she had talked to another tax outfit, H&R, and they were going to charge her like $800 to do her taxes because she hasn't filed since 2015 now.
Yeah, because the law says you have to report worldwide income.
She's gonna. Well, we certainly. Our fee's gonna be like $125 to do a return. But anyway, the thing is, we talk to her. What we could do is a three-way and talk to her employer, because as long as she's being paid on a W-2, she's going to have FICA and Medicare withheld. And I think that they should, if they have other employees,
unless they give her.
And
Pardon me,
Mike,
Chris?
you said she lives in Canada,
Wait,
right?
I wanted to hear. What
I mean, they don't give her a T4 now.
They're not giving her. She's on a W-2, right, Mike?
I think so. Like I said, she hasn't filed since 2015.
Yeah. What she should do is give us a call. We'll unscrew the spaghetti and help her out. And if she's on a T4, like Chris says, that's a W-2 for Canada.
Okay, yeah. She was up here last weekend for a week, and she works from home. And she didn't get time to call you, but she can call you.
Yeah, she can. There's phones in Canada. We can talk anytime. All right?
Okay, Esther, thank you.
Hey, thanks, Mike. Thanks for calling. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you very much.
All right, bye-bye. I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on your cell phone. We're talking about taxes. We're talking about your finances. We're talking about your FICO scores. Give us a call, 8030930, star 930 on your cell phone. We're going to break for the news, and we'll see you on the other side.
It's all right.
Oh, this is a good island kind of song. You can just see the palm trees swaying, right, and all that kind of stuff. I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 cell phone. Obviously, we will talk taxes, but we were kind of focusing today on how to fix your credit because so many things depend on your credit. And EG Tax does it. This time of year, we're not doing tons of tax returns. We do a lot of them, but
yesterday we did a 15.
Yeah, but the bottom line, we're not doing thousands,
right?
And we have time to see people and help them with their budgets. We really want to do that. All right, let's go to the phones. We'll talk to Mr. Paul, who's waited for so long. How can we help you, Paul? Hello, Paul. Hello, Paul.
Paul and
Hello.
Ringo.
Hello, Paul. You're on your cell. Not there. Well, we'll just go.
Give us a call back,
Yeah,
Paul.
give us a call back, Paul. Karen in Tonawanda. Hi, Karen.
Hi, guys. We have very good credit, and we don't owe anything.
Good for you.
Getting these offers for other credit cards in the mail. If you spend $1,000 in the next 3 months, they'll give you $100 credit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's awful tempting to open up all these credit cards, but then we're not using them all.
Okay, but here's the thing, Karen.
Really?
You don't have, it actually helps your credit score to have available credit that's not used.
Oh.
So for that $100, I would do it. I mean, take
And
the
you
money.
sound like a
Buy
very
your groceries, pay off
yeah.
the bill.
I mean, just...
And then I thought maybe that's not a good idea.
No, it absolutely. If you go to this myfico.com, you'll see that they explain everything. And that's one of the things they talk about is that unused credit that you have a card and you use it occasionally and pay it off, that actually builds your credit score. Because you might have a lower credit score because you aren't using credit. I know it sounds silly, but the truth is if you are somebody that has no credit history, then they think that, well, in the event of an emergency, you might get sunk. So credit is a good thing to have in your stable, so to speak.
So get that extra $100.
I would. You take a look at some of these credit card offers that are out there. 0% for 21 months. Use it for 30 days, write a check at the end of the month, and you're building up your credit score. And the thing is, it really is a good thing to have in the event of an emergency. Emergencies happen all the time.
Okay.
And you don't want, in the event of an emergency where you have to say, gee, we'd like to get credit, they pull your FICO score and it's relatively moderate, and you're not going to get the best deal. I would think that it sounds like you and your husband have a very good handle on everything. I do it.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
Bye.
Bye-bye. I'm Esther Gullius, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. It's really interesting. I was, yes, Chris.
Oh, I was going to say, it's like for Karen, it's like the old adage, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
So, like you said, she could be really jeopardizing her credit by not using any credit.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people think, oh my gosh, I don't want it to be bad. It's actually, from what I was reading when I was preparing for the show, that when you have the available credit, you don't use it or use it moderately, it actually goes to say, wow, this person has self-control. They only use it for their necessities,
that they
as
can
opposed
afford.
to going in the mall and saying, wow, we got $20,000. Let's go have a good time.
Take one
that
of
isn't
those
what it-
and one of
That's
those.
right, and that's not what you want to do. But it was interesting. I was at Lowe's this morning, and I was walking down the lumber line, because I just picked up something to clean my deck, and it's called Wet It and Forget It, I think. So I'm down over there, and I hear a husband and wife say to each other, he says, gee, honey, maybe we should get this lumber for the deck. And she says, well, that's an extra $1.20 a foot. And he says, that's true. It would cost us an extra $250. And I thought, I remember those days. I remember those days saying, nope. I can remember getting fence from my backyard from the stockpile in the back of the fence company, because they were selling the sections for $10 rather than
scratch and dent
$150. Scratch and dent furniture. I mean, that's what we did, because I really wanted to. If I made a commitment, I wanted to pay the thing, and that's kind of where you just have to. You just have to bite the bullet and say, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
It's sort of like dieting. You got to push away from the table. You know?
That's pretty sad. Okay, we're going to go to Tom. Hi, Tom. How can we help you?
Hi, Esther?
Yes, sir.
Hi. I had a question. I retired, let me see, 10/19/16. Okay. And when my tax guy did my taxes, he says, okay, you don't have to fill out taxes anymore.
Well, that's possible.
Oh, is it?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I receive a pension and Social Security.
How much you get in your pension, Tom?
$942.
$942 a month, right?
Yeah.
And are you single or married? Hello?
My wife passed away not too long ago. So.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay, so in 2000, was your wife with you in 2017?
Yes.
All right, so in 2017, you have the right to claim your wife, and you had to file a joint return. So you're going to get a higher standard deduction and higher personal exemptions. So how much is your Social Security, Tom?
$14.77
a month. Right?
Right.
And do you have any other source of income besides that pension and the Social Security? Any interest, dividends?
Nothing.
No gambling or anything like that?
Oh.
So why don't you guys explain the standard deduction and personal exemption?
So, one, you don't get to claim your wife anymore. You can claim yourself, and you're going to be single. And so the standard deduction for single is around 60.
And how old are you, Tom?
And $4,000 for the personal exemption. So really, you won't have to file a return unless you make.
Are you over 65?
No.
No.
How
So
old are
for
you,
a
Tom?
couple years, you're going to have to.
Right. He's close.
How old are you, Tom?
63.
63. You have health insurance, right?
Yes.
Okay. So your standard deduction of personal
6,300.
exemption is around $12,000. So with $11,000 pension, you really don't have to file it. There's no
$940. He said it was $940 a month.
Right.
That's
but times
11,000.
12, that's 11,000 for the
Right,
year.
but 6,000 and 4,000 is 10,000.
What's 6,000?
His standard deduction for
Yeah.
single.
And 4,000.
Oh, okay, so that's 10,000. Oh, that's true. So
He's very
But
close.
this year
With
he'll
Mary.
have his wife, so he won't have to. Then next year
Is about
the standard deduction is going to
11,200.
increase in personal exemption. So you should check in 2018, 2017 for sure. You don't have to. You don't have to file a return because your wife was with you in 2017.
But when you're single,
Yeah. With current law, let's emphasize that, because if the tax law changes, I believe one of the things going was personal exemptions.
Right, but they were increasing the
Standard deduction. So you just keep listening to our show.
all of this, what it means is, while you're married, I don't think you had to file. But when you're single, it might be a different world.
Right,
so you
but
better
it looks
call.
like it's going to be about 11.6, and he's at 11. But you're so close, Tom. Listen to the show and call us in 2018. We'll find out. We'll let you know if you have to file. But I'm almost positive you're not going to have to.
This year, you're saying?
Is this year for sure you're good to go?
If she passed away in March.
Yeah, this year you're good to go. You'd file a joint return. You don't have to worry. But next year, you're right. You're very close because you revert to a single taxpayer.
I see.
So in 18, give us a jingle and we'll let you know. But I really think that there is going to be tax reform, and I do think the standard deduction is going to go up substantially. So I would assume in 18 you're not going to have a problem either.
Oh.
Okay?
Okay.
Sorry to hear about your wife.
You guys know anything about credit cards?
Yes, I know a lot about credit cards. What's the question?
Now, my question is that apparently my wife used my credit card, and got, over $1,000. I mean, I never even used the card.
Right.
And they called me and said I am responsible for her debt. Is that true?
It is your card, is it not?
Yeah. She used,
Then you are responsible.
son of a gun.
But now,
But what I'd make sure that you do is get that thing paid so it doesn't affect your credit score.
Oh, it's going to be very hard. I told them it's going to be very hard.
well, if you did a settlement, you could settle too. It'll be a ding on your credit, but you could say to the credit card company, I can only afford to pay $2,000 or $200, and then they'll settle and say, okay, the $800 will wash away. And if you're insolvent, you can do a Form 982 and not include the income. So there's avenues.
There is ways.
Oh, there's ways. Okay.
Yeah, so call us and we'll help you, Tom.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay,
And that happens all the time.
right, but I just... I'm eating gum here. But I want to tell people that if you do what Tiffany said, that debt cancellation is taxable. So, and then
Unless
she
he
was
was
talking
in-
about the 982, but you have to be insolvent, so you don't know what his assets were.
Correct. I said possible if he was
Possible, right.
insolvent.
In other words, there's many ways to thread the needle.
And he should call us.
Right, and you should call. And we're going to go to Dick in Depew. Hey, Dick, how can we help you, sir?
Well, you can answer a question because I've been calling the guy that did my taxes, and he hasn't returned my call yet.
Well, we will return your call. What do we need to help you with, Dick?
When he filed my taxes, I didn't realize, I was looking through the papers the other day, I've got a leased car, but I paid $688 in New York State tax, which I didn't tell him about. And is it worth it for me to file an amended return, and what is the return number I got to get?
Okay, so did you itemize, or do you just take the standard deduction? Do you know?
Itemized.
You do itemize?
Are you still working?
No, I'm retired.
So do you have large property taxes, Tom? I mean, Dick?
No, I got property taxes.
How much are they about?
Well, they're only about $1,200, $1,500 a year. Plus, I got a lot of charitable donations.
How much do you think you give to charity?
Last year was a few thousand.
Okay. And you have a mortgage on your house?
Nope.
Did you have large medical bills?
Not large, but I did have some, yes.
Over $3,000?
Yeah, I think it was a little over 3, yes.
Okay, so not much in medical. And so here's the thing: if you have small medical, plus your property taxes, plus the sales taxes you didn't claim, plus your charity, you're still under your standard deduction, which would make me believe you do not itemize. I don't see where you could have itemized unless you're paying your stockbroker tens of thousands of dollars. So if you don't itemize, then that New York State sales tax on your vehicle won't make any difference. But what I'd suggest you do is call us on Monday so we can ask you to open up your tax return, and we'll ask for the number on a certain line, and you can tell us. Okay? And we'll double check, but it doesn't sound like you itemize, and therefore your New York State sales taxes wouldn't be deductible.
I did itemize. I know that. I have my return in the house.
Okay, well, if you did itemize, then it's a possibility that you would save some money in your taxes by amending it. I will tell you, Dick, I am not a betting woman, but I bet you $10 that you didn't itemize.
And if you itemized, he probably used your sales tax. So if you used your sales tax, this is only $688. So it's going to yield what? $68.
But the bottom line is, I'd like to talk to you on Monday. Give us a jingle. Get your tax return out, because sometimes I know with my own clients, I will go through everything to make sure that they itemize. But sometimes when I get to the bottom line, they didn't qualify because the standard deduction was higher. Yeah. And I don't say to them, oh, by the way, we're not going to itemize. I just don't charge them for that. So let's double check. Okay, Dick?
Okay, one more question.
Yes, sir.
With a federal return, you would find a 1040X.
That's right.
What is there a return for state?
Well, no, because on New York State, your New York State sales taxes are not. There is an itemized return, but on New York State, you would not itemize for the sales tax deduction because it's not allowable.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome, Dick. Hope to talk to you. Bye-bye. Let's see. We got it. I'm Esther Gilius, the tax lady, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on the cell phone. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be with you guys on the other side.
You're a rich girl, and you're gone too
Perfect, Frank.
it don't matter anyway. You can rely
on the old man's money.
You can rely
Yeah, right. I'm Esther Gilius, the tax lady. It's tough to rely on anybody's money except for yours, and you want to make sure that you spend the time to make sure that your money is taken care of. You really can't rely on anybody, except for yourself. So that includes the federal government.
Always said.
That's right. All right, let's talk to Mr. Paul. We tried to talk to you, Paul, a while ago, but then you went away.
Hello?
Hey, Paul. How can we help you?
Yeah, we got disconnected somehow. I don't know. Maybe it was my fault.
That's okay.
Here's my question, honey. My wife and I filed a bankruptcy 10 years ago.
Okay.
Well, let me rephrase that. 10 years ago in July.
Okay.
End of July. Do I have to do anything to get that once it's after 10 years to get that off my credit rating, or
nope? No. And have you been since the bankruptcy? Have you been reestablishing credit, Paul?
I haven't missed a payment on anything. Not even buying post.
Have you pulled your FICO score? Have you pulled your credit score?
My latest credit score was 725.
All right. Well, that's really good.
That's really good.
That's really, really good. But so things are moving along. A lot of people, and I'm sure that you didn't want to file the bankruptcy, but as somebody that had to file bankruptcy, Paul, did you find that you learned a lot and it was a positive or a negative experience?
I learned a lot that they're not out to help you at all. Let me tell you what I did. I was a construction person for years, most of my life. I got laid off for 13 months, and then I went back to work for 3 months, which means I didn't have any more eligibility for unemployment yet, and I was laid off again for 14 months. Talking about like almost 30 months out of 3 years.
Yep.
Laid off. What I did is I withdrew $38,000 a little at a time to make the minimum payments on all my credit cards. Hoping I would go back to work and be able to pay them off.
Right.
I grew up where if you borrow something, you pay it back no matter what.
Right.
That's what I grew up with. And when I ran out of money, I just didn't have any choice.
Right.
I had to take my home, and I said, well, now I don't have any choice. I have to go to a lawyer.
Right.
So let me tell you what Citibank did to me. I called them and I made them an offer. They made me an offer for a reduced payment and pay it off. And I said, how about this one? I will give you every dime you have coming. Not a penny lost. You'll get every penny. But stop the interest rates and the late charges today. Send me a letter stating that the interest rate stops, or for charges stop today, and I guarantee you, I promise you, I will pay you faithfully every dime you have coming. And the guy says, I can't do that. I said, sir, you're forcing me into bankruptcy. He said, so what?
But you know, your story, Paul, is very typical because unfortunately, when you're dealing with powerful agencies like the federal government, the state of New York, big banks, they have no alternative but to follow certain regulations that are put into place by the federal government. And so what they do is if you can't comply with their systematic payments, then you do have to do a bankruptcy. And I understand that that seemed very illogical to you, but believe it or not, those larger institutions, that's what they have to do because it's not a one-on-one. They have all kinds of rules and regulations to follow. So what you did was then the whole thing was forgiven, correct? Did you do a Chapter 7?
I went to Chapter 7.
Yep.
What made my biggest mistake is that I went through $39,000 of my retirement. I cashed in my
that brings me to another
Excellent
scenario.
point.
If somebody has the state of New York, because you're a resident of New York State, says that pension plans are holy, and in the event of a bankruptcy, they would have not made you take the money out of your pension plan because they wanted you to have it for when you do retire. There are people that are doing exactly what you are. You're a fine, hardworking person, and you at the end of your rope, you didn't have any more rope to hang on to, and you then went into a bankruptcy. But you've also lost your entire pension. If people are listening,
not entire,
but anyway, but if people are listening and they're at that situation where they're taking they're taking money out of their pension plan in order to make the minimum payments because they're hoping it's going to go away, I will tell you, you would be better off talking to a bankruptcy attorney because you'll be able to keep your house probably and your pension plan, and then on the other side of your dilemma, your financial problem, you can always pay the creditor again.
Yep. And to go back to your original question, Paul, after 10 years, there's nothing you have to do. You don't have to notify anybody. They know.
Well, Paul, your story is certainly understandable and happens all the time. And it sounds like you're a great guy. You're out of bankruptcy. Your credit is good, going up. And, hey, thanks for calling.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Paul. It happens.
Yeah.
I see it all the time in the office where people say, I don't want to go bankrupt, so we're taking money out of our pension plan.
Yep.
And it's a noble thing to do. But if you really can't get out from under, then that's what bankruptcy is all about. It's protection, and it protects your
and I think you said that so well. I've said it to my clients. Your pension, your 401k is so holy, and holy is the word, and so don't touch it. And Paul's story will help somebody else.
Right. Okay, so let's talk more about your credit. Do you know that if you have unpaid parking tickets, it affects your credit?
Not until you told me. I know
that? And there's also a scofflaw in New York State. If you don't pay your parking tickets, they can take away your driver's license. Oh. So parking tickets are something you want to make sure. So make sure if you got parking tickets that don't just throw them in a garbage can. Make sure you get those things paid. And the other thing is, if you're listening and you do have credit problems, we don't charge to help people to come up with a plan. Sometimes it's just the plan.
That's right. And talking to somebody else and needing it out and figuring it out and talking about the different avenues. And
so here, let's talk about
stories.
how bad credit sabotages your life. If you're a young person, your landlord is gonna, if it's a good landlord, they're gonna look for your credit history. Right. Number two, some employers won't hire you unless they do a credit check.
Yep. If you're a young person, you can't get student loans.
Right.
Or get high interest rates.
You may not qualify for the self plan you want because of your bad credit. You have to pay more for insurance. You have to pay utility deposits if you have bad credit. And the other thing is, if you're short on cash, you'll be at the mercy of high interest loans. Like, let's say that you really, really need to get out from under, and the only thing you can do is do a 17% interest rate to get out of your credit card debt because your credit score isn't any good.
Right.
Okay. And let's go quickly to Linda in Amherst. Hi, Linda. How can we help you? Hello, Linda. Hello, Linda. Linda?
Yes.
All right, there you are. How can we help you, sir? Ma'am.
Well, we filed our daughter's taxes. She is 26 and working and a student, a full-time student. And we went online and did the whole freebie thing and New York State deal. And we set up, she owed money. And we set up withdrawal automatically from our account on the 18th when the taxes were due. In the meantime, we have conversation with her and realized we never took off her tuition.
I was just thinking, you said student, and I was like,
Okay, so then did you amend the return?
We amended the return before the filing date of the 18th.
Okay.
They took that money out of our account. Now, will her return reflect that?
Did you do an amended return?
They did, but did they indicate that on the amendment?
Linda, did you do an amended return?
We did, yes.
All right. And did you put that money that they were supposed to take out as a credit that you already paid?
I'll have to check that.
All right, because if you didn't put it on
the amendment,
because they took it out of your bank account, and if you didn't put on the amendment, you might have to give them a call or maybe send in a corrected amended return. But I would give New York State a call and explain it all to them.
This is New York or IRS?
Or both?
Both.
Oh, all right. You'd have to call them both.
Yeah, on the amended return, there's a place where you can indicate that you paid that other balance due, and you had to put that on the amended return, Linda.
Right, and since it came out of your bank account, not your daughter, I'm not sure, rather your daughter's bank account, I'm not sure that they would get the apples and the oranges, so it's definitely worth the time to spend talking to them.
I know the IRS is really behind on amended returns. We've seen a lot of letters where people, instead of owing, they got money back and they still get bills in the mail because the IRS hasn't finished processing their amended return yet.
Right.
You could check the IRS's website under Where's My Amended Return to see what the status of that is.
Right, but if they process it without giving you credit for that payment, that's where you're going to have to follow up. I would make the phone call.
Or call us.
All right?
All right,
thanks, Linda. I'm Esther Goulias, the tax lady from EG Tax. So this is our glorious beginning of summer.
Yep.
I hope everybody has a wonderful day barbecuing tomorrow. I suppose all the dads will be out barbecuing. My own dad I miss very much. He was a great guy. And I wish all the fathers a wonderful Father's Day. And Chris, you're a great dad. My son-in-laws are all great great dads too. Until next week, if you need the best tax help, give EG Tax a call. Visit our website at egtax.com. I'm Esther Goulias, the tax lady, with Chris Fabian and Tiffany Fabian. Happy Father's Day. Thanks for listening.